Well, good morning, guys, and welcome back to Southwest Luxury Coach here in Phoenix, Arizona. It was about a month ago we were here last, and I did an inspection and took you guys through a 99 marathon. And I complained about how dreary the skies were back in February. Well, it's March. It's a little bit warmer, but about perfect weather. But in that video, I alluded to them having quite a bit of inventory here that I could probably share with you guys in the future. And while they definitely do have some inventory left here, they invited me over here on the day they decided to load up for the RV Super Show here in Phoenix. But that's both a very good and a very bad thing for me and for you guys, because I'm a little bit under the gun to do this next inspection that they asked me to do, because they asked me to do an inspection on this 2010 Marathon Quad Slide H3 Prevost bus conversion. I don't think I've ever shown you guys a four-slided H3 on my channel before. Now the problem is that, like I said, I'm a little under the gun. I only have a few hours to do this inspection before they have to get it loaded up to the show. And it's a little bit dirty now, so they want to wash it up first. So I don't have a lot of time to spend here, so let's get on the roof and do an inspection first before the detailers get too upset with me for taking too much time. But I do want to make sure I cover this, because I always forget to show you guys all the important stuff, because I have stuff to do. When it comes to the Prevost H3 chassis, it is more of a fiberglass build on it, and what is fairly common to find on the belt line is this plastic rub strip right there does crack, and I'm not seeing any signs of that whatsoever. The tires are from the end of 2023. Because it's a 2010, this still does have the Detroit Diesel Series 60 on it with no def. And the batteries have just been replaced with brand new lifelines on them. So you got about a good 7 years on that. And the most important thing, besides being 4 slides with paint in wonderful condition, the one thing I always forget to tell you guys always want to ask the mileage. At 93,286 miles. All right, I think with that, let's get on the roof. Even though this is a fiberglass chassis, it is still a Prevost. That means this is still a stainless steel monocoque construction underneath that fiberglass shell. Just like every other Prevost bus, this is still a metal roof, though it does feel like it has a coating applied to it. Yeah, you can see it right there. So it'll help cool it off quite a bit. Keeps it isolated from the metal. That's a good upgrade. So like every one of these roof inspections, we'll go ahead and start at the back and work our way forward. However, my first initial assessment would be that the current owner has been maintaining this, because I am seeing a lot of maintenance and upgrades on this roof. We'll go ahead and start right back here on the rear cap. We can see where the metal is riveted down into the framing, and this is the fiberglass, this is the metal roof, and the coating is actually a pretty nice soft coating. I like that. Now there is a little bit of checking in the fiberglass on the rear cap. And of course, Marathon would have done this add-on spoiler. And of course, usually they do this for decorative and aesthetic appearance from the outside, but also to incorporate the box awnings that they do add on to the roof. You can see this one, Marathon went with stainless steel. That was a good choice, because a lot of times manufacturers go with the steel that's just been painted. I can say my initial impression is something's going on with this awning right here. We'll take a look at it in a second. Looks like they added on a satellite dish. Sealant looks fine. Yeah, that's a brand new Winegard Traveler. So somebody has just added that. I've never installed one this new yet. So not to bore you guys with a intrigue from the RV world, but Winegard won't sell me these anymore as an installer unless I'm certified. And I'm not a certified Winegard installer. And speaking of new components on here from Winegard, it does look like it has the Air 360 Plus, so that's a brand new TV antenna, and plus it has some extra features to it also. If we look over here, this has the H3 exhaust from that Detroit Diesel Series 60 we were talking about. It's kind of a sweet exhaust instead of being underneath where the muffler usually gets crushed on the XL series. Let's see, we got a radio antenna for the bedroom. Now this does have an awning, so this is a power awning, so it looks like we have 4 power awnings up here. And at least this one looks like it's closed. We'll do a quick little tap on it. We'll inspect the first of 4 slide outs. Not seeing anything, and you can actually see the coating went over the top right here too. I'm not sure what coating they used, but because of the sealant right here, I wonder if the factory did this at Marathon. Come over here, got a sewer vent. Not seeing anything wrong with the sealant there. I don't know why somebody added this sealant after the fact, because it didn't really do anything. So we have the first of 4 Coleman roof ACs. Now we have a lot to look at when it comes to these Coleman ACs. Now, of course, normally I tell you on these roof ACs just to lean up against them to make sure that they're not loose. It does happen quite often, but these ACs are actually telling us a story too. So it looks like this AC is probably not the original one, because this louvered vent is incorporated into the shroud, whereas the next one in front probably is the original one, because the louvered vent is separate from the shroud. But if we go to the third one, or the second one on the front, is a Coleman Mach 8. So it's a completely different one, because those have been discontinued. So this is telling us quite a story. We have an original one, an original replacement, and now a brand new replacement one. So it's very evident to me that the current owner has been maintaining this bus just by looking at the ACs. Now, we didn't check out on this awning over here, so those bolts aren't loose. We do have an extra twig we probably don't need up here, and that coating does extend onto this slide out room on the second slide out. Have to figure out what's going up here. A lot of times when that happens, it just means the fabric didn't roll up square, so we'll try to run that out, see if we can't solve that problem. Sealant looks really good. I guess the rest of that twig I should grab. And looks like they have replaced the wind sensor here. So this one's not broken, and it looks like they did make the connection up here with the heat shrink. And they did get the sealant underneath that cable entry port. Again, I'm not really quite sure why somebody touched this up with non-self-leveling sealant next to, this is looks like ProFlex or Pro Seal, because it does tend to yellow. And I don't know, I guess I could recommend this, just it's resealed right there. I'm not seeing an issue over here. I just don't know why they resealed it and did such a weird job. Looks like we have another new wind sensor right there, and yep, that's been replaced too. Kind of did the same thing over here, just a little touch-up sealant job. That's why you want to get on the roofs and make sure that everything looks good, especially if you pay somebody to do a seal job. I'm not sure that was money well spent. What I do like to see on these gussets for the awnings is that there are drain ports on this. Sometimes they don't put drain ports right there, so water does get stuck here very easily, and you never want water stuck on a roof anywhere. Even if it's sealed up really well, standing water will always find a way in. So on this AC, it's not loose. Got a little bit of a chip on that sewer vent, otherwise nothing I'm really worried about. So this one's been sealed correctly, and this vent is the metal one. I wonder what there's going on here. If I'd had to guess, that is a sewer vent, and that's also a sewer vent, and then this is probably the bathroom, the water closet underneath, probably the shower. So on marathons, a lot of times they have a built-in ventilation fan like you'd have in a residential home. That's probably the vent for it. That's why it's metal and has a shroud riveted to the front of it to keep air from going back inside when you're driving down the road. That takes us to our third awning. We'll just give a love tap on it, and of course our third slide out. It also has the coating on it. Again, I don't know that I've seen Marathon put a coating on, but I do like that coating. And right here we're going to have an antenna. I don't know, it looks like maybe it's a CB or a cell phone antenna. Maybe that's why they had to have this base underneath it to ground it. That'll take us to our fourth awning. Give it a kick and make sure it's not loose. And of course the roof of the fourth slide out, it's also been coated. It's a very interesting roof. I'm sure there's a lot cooler inside in the heat now. That'll take us to our third roof AC. Again, I'm just going to lightly push against it to make sure it's not loose. We have a battery maintainer. It's at least been sealed properly. Again, somebody did a touch-up on it. I can't say why they did that. They did the same thing over here. It's almost like somebody was asked to do a seal job or a reseal, and they did a reseal. That'll take us to our fourth AC unit. It's not loose, so that's in good shape. It's not like this is causing any issues. I just don't think it solved any issues. It's just extra sealant. We'll come over here. That seam looks really good. Come over here down to the side. And this is a fiberglass extension to the original Prevost fiberglass front cap. So Marathon would have added this. And we can step down here into this little well on top of the original roof. We'll find the KVH satellite dish. This is probably the in-motion one, likely one of the more original ones, because it does have the original sealant on the feet down there. Of course, these are obsolete and discontinued. Support on those. And I'm really not seeing too much other than, well, they did put a couple drain holes right here to come out over here. One nice thing about these Marathons is this front cap right here. Boiler, they incorporated this beautiful stainless steel grill, and most of the time it's backlit, so at night you can see Marathon. Otherwise, I'm not even seeing any checking going on the front cap here. The paint's in really good condition. The clearance lights are not broken, and the windshields are fully seated in that gasket on both sides here. Wow, this looks really good. Now, even though I'm an inspector, really, I don't ever really want to find anything, and I don't think I did find anything to worry about. So the roof is in incredibly good condition. Sealant looks good. Maybe a little extra sealant than is even needed. Maybe we could reseal the Pandastic vent around the flange a little bit better. Now, we're not completely done with this roof inspection. Remember, we had an issue with the awnings on that side, and I didn't run them out yet because we wanted to make sure we saw the roofs of the slide outs, which all look good. But I did bring a remote control so we can operate the awnings using this iPad tablet here. And I think there are a few of them in this coach. Let's see, so there's the tech link. We don't need that. We'll go to home, go to awnings, we'll do curbside forward, and we'll extend. I need to keep my eye out on this one because there's power lines over here I don't want to hit. So the fabric looks pretty good. They even have the riveted drain hole so it doesn't hold water. Well, I risked it all. We didn't hit it anything. It looks really good. So I definitely can't risk it all back there. We'll go ahead and retract that one. We'll go to curbside rear. We'll try to extend this one, see what's going on. So a lot of times if the fabric gets rolled up crooked, that's the problem that we have. Yeah, the fabric was just crooked. Let me go ahead and put it back in straight, and I bet this will solve the problem. I might have to get an iron and iron it out a little bit better, or let the sun iron it out. But really, this is just a big power shade. So the motor just unwinds the fabric, and the arms pull the whole awning out. So when it retracts, it's just pulling the fabric. So if it's off center a little bit, you're gonna have that kind of a problem. But yeah, we almost got it. So yeah, look at that. You'd be amazed how just rolling up the fabric correctly solves a lot of problems. It only leaves two more to do. We'll extend the front and the driver's side rear. Looks like it's a little bit out of the lead rail right there. And of course, these are just basically slide out toppers, so they don't extend as far out as the patio awnings over there. But other than a little bit of a loose fabric right there, this looks really good. And I think with that, we'll get those put back away so I can get off this roof. Otherwise, I see nothing but good things to report to Southwest Luxury Coach. The owner's been taking really good care of their coach. Now it's time for me to get off the roof and finish up the inspection. All right, so Scott, Turner, and Alec have just informed me that I'm running out of time. So I need to finish up this inspection, but I don't want to leave you guys hanging quite yet. So I'll give you a sneak peek at what we're looking at right here. So I did go ahead and close up all the slides because before I send this thing to the show, I did want to take the opportunity to show you guys the floor plan with all 4 slides closed on it. Obviously, one of the nicest things about these motor coaches built in a Prevost chassis is just the high-end, beautiful luxury that they offer. But it's really the ride of the Prevost chassis, which is the #1 factor why people end up getting these Prevost buses. The way they travel down the road, that cannot be surpassed by any coach builder or any RV builder. So with all 4 slides closed, is it still travel friendly? So I do have all of them closed up right now, and it does get a little bit narrow right here. So it might be easier to turn sideways right here, but once you're past that point, which is just a little bit narrow right there, really you have a lot of good space over here. And I do like how Marathon came up with something very similar that Newell came up with. This whole thing kind of like telescopes and collapses as it goes in and out. It has a collapsing floor down there, which I will point out to when we get to this recliner, because that's a nice feature they did on that too. And then if you'll notice right here, this also collapses out of the way to give a little bit more space back here. So in the galley, you can get to the stove and the sink, the microwave, and the dinette, and the sofa here in the salon. Moving back here a little bit further, we will find, to get to the freezer side of this, you will have to walk past it, but the freezer door does open up all the way. It does have water and ice in the door, but you can open up the refrigerator completely, even with the slide-out rooms closed. Now, because Marathon is a luxury builder, I was a little confused why they had this rounded off section right here of this countertop, but I think it's mostly just so there wasn't a hard edge right there. You could easily imagine bumping up against there with your leg, and that was a very thoughtful thing for Marathon to do. You can get to the pantry just fine on both sides. And moving back here into the bathroom, this won't be affected by the slides being opened or closed at all, so really pretty good access to the second most important thing on the road is going to be the toilet. The first one is going to be the refrigerator. As far as the third most important, which is can you live in it with the slide-out rooms closed, it does get very tight back here into the bedroom. So again, you will have to turn sideways, get a little bit small to get back to the bed. And if you wanted to get back to the closet right there, you will have to hop over the bed. Now, the great news is that they did make a cutout on the slide out itself, so you do have full access to the bed with both slide out rooms closed. A lot of times the mattress goes underneath and you wouldn't be able to put your feet. So that's a really nice feature too that Marathon did. Okay, so with that quick little walkthrough done with the slide out rooms closed, let me finish up this inspection, guys. All right, guys, I made it to the Phoenix International Raceway and the RV Super Show. And this does really look like it is a proper RV Super Show with multiple regional and nationwide dealers. So just need to find my way to Southwest Luxury Coach and see if they got that 2010 Marathon H3 Prevost bus conversion with 4 slide outs, all polished up and ready for the inside tour. And I think I found it. Yeah, I think it's safe to say she's all shined up and beautiful and ready for a tour. So I'm gonna try to take advantage of being early to the show here and get you guys on the outside of it and show the few things that I thought were pretty impressive on it. But I do want to stress probably the most important thing that most people don't understand, including myself, when it comes to an H3 Prevost. Even though it's a fiberglass sided coach, because they are so much taller when you compare them to an XL or XL2, that there must be more ceiling height inside. And that seems exceptionally true because unlike those buses, you have 3 more steps to go up into to get inside the bus. But all that extra height does not necessarily translate into more headspace. All that extra height within the H3 chassis is going to be found in the basement right here because these were developed as touring buses to allow a lot more luggage space for the passengers and the gear that are inside the bus. Now, I don't know if it's unfortunate or fortunate. Marathon is the converter on this one, and so it's very difficult for me to show you all the extra space in the basement because they did fill it up with sliding trays underneath. If you were to compare the height of these doors compared to an XL or XL2 chassis, they would normally be right about here. Now this is at my shoulder level. So that is something to be aware of when you're comparing H3s and XL chassis. Now these do have air-driven air basement sliders on it. And what I really appreciate about this is Marathon didn't make you have to hunch over to push a button. Just push that right there and the whole thing slides out. And that is a massive storage tray. And just behind that one, on the other side of that cross bay storage that we saw, they have what was probably a barbecue setup here. It's also on the slider. So you just go out with it. And it's already set up with a countertop, a place to mount a barbecue, a stove top, a hibachi, whatever you'd like with that solid surface Corian and that high quality laminate that's high gloss. Perfect for tailgating. While we're in here, this does have a fully capable buddy plug. It is 50 amp service because just over here is a 20 kilowatt power plant which can handle the entire bus and the needs of your buddy or your car hauling trailer, which is pretty unique in the RV world since most RV generators peak out about 12.5 kilowatt. And just behind that compartment will be the mechanical bay, and this is where Marathon really shines from a technician's point of view. But that praise also extends to this other side of the mechanical bay, where they basically frame and put on display the holding tanks, the water pumps, and the water heaters. They're not ashamed of it, and they give great access. Even check this out. So easy to service these. And while I may never own one, I do appreciate as a technician. Now, I think almost every Marathon will have an outside TV, and they all pretty much work the same way. You pull that out, and then you can unlatch it right here, and it will swivel for all your outside TV viewing. And I didn't realize until I did the inspection that this does have ground lights or boogie lights, whatever you want to call them, effect lights. These are going to be red on this one, which will match on the paint very well. All right, so with the outside pretty much covered, let's go ahead and go move indoors. I'll stop and make a pause on how beautiful that front door looks, but this is solid granite tiling coming through the entire cabin area right here underneath those custom-made mats. The drivers and passenger seats, they are solid leather and they're in wonderful condition. This does not look like a 2010. And yes, this is an air ride seat. And yes, both the driver's seat and the passenger seat has massage heat functions. And another unique feature about the H3 chassis is, again, passenger seats aren't really supposed to exist on that. This passenger seat sits higher than the driver's seat, so they have a much more powerful and commanding view of the road in front of you. Now, speaking of commanding, from the driver's seat right here, you can pretty much control the entire bus. This is equipped with TPMS tire monitors, and even though the Crestron system throughout the rest of the coach has been upgraded to the iPad and the app, this still does have the original Crestron system on it, where you can control the awnings, the TechLink screen, and the radio. It has two different tuners on it, but check this out. We can switch it to backup monitor, and now we can look behind us, we can look up, and we can look down. But let's go ahead and make our way back further into the salon. Well, we'll go up that H3 exclusive extra stepwell with underlights on those steps, and we'll move from granite flooring to dramatic wood plank flooring that does make its way over to granite there in the wet areas. Now, unlike some buses that have been redesigned and refitted, this is real wood. It is not vinyl plank flooring, and I think the factory at Marathon probably inlaid this from the beginning, because that is a beautiful transition between the stone and the wood flooring. Again, if we look above, we're gonna see, instead of having a high gloss reflective mirrored ceiling, so rather than being over the top and dramatic, it's a very muted design with a different colored suede material, and it looks like this is etched and stained metal on the ceiling above. So moving back on the first slide out behind the driver's seat, we'll find the sofa. Now again, this is real leather. I did even take this little cushion apart to make sure that it was real leather. And this does turn into a bed. This is a simple, like a futon, click-clack sort of thing. Just up and then down. Easily done with one hand. And then behind there, we do have a little bit of storage space. Naturally, this is a bus conversion. I'm sorry, a luxury motor coach. So all the window coverings are going to be power. Now, of course, you can operate them with the switch right here or with that updated Crestron system through the app using the shades over here. Now, just behind the sofa will be the dinette. Now, this is more of a bar wraparound J lounge, and this does have the solid surface Corian that matches all the countertops throughout the rest of the coach. But because this does have a slide out on both sides or opposing sides, in order for there to be a lot more room to get in and out, right underneath right here is conveniently located a switch, which will allow the tabletop to slide back a little bit more. And really, this is the most amount of room I've ever seen in an H3. When it comes to the amount of floor space, it starts to rival the newer motor coaches. And then speaking of those coaches, just like their slide outs, this floor will actually drop down like a valid slide, and then the slide room itself comes over the top of it, which is a pretty important feature when it comes to the recliner. Now, most RV recliners or Euro loungers are just on a ring pedestal, and you can move them around. But the problem is that a lot of times the establishing floor, like right there, the chair doesn't sit when you're driving down the road and the slide out room is in. It just balances around, so you have to find a way to securing those chairs. So Marathon actually came up with a pretty ingenious solution for it. They bolted this thing to the ground, which a lot of people might be upset about because there's not a lot of space right here for it to swivel around. But they solved that problem by making it a power adjustable base. So just using the buttons located right here, we can push out and the whole thing will extend out quite a way, so you have a lot more swiveling space. And more importantly, when you sit down, you have the best seat in the house. The base doesn't rock, it's very comfortable. And using the Crestron right here, we can lower those front shades. And again, without leaving my seat, we can go to the TV down, and then the main TV will descend out of the ceiling. All done with just the tip of my finger without having to leave this very comfortable leather recliner. Now, just behind the recliner is going to be the galley. Now, it is part of the slide out room, but because they did such a beautiful seamless transition in the floor right there, you don't have to worry about tripping. This does have a single under countertop mounted seamless integrated Corian sink into that Corian countertop. And even right here, it's the first time I can actually tell you the fuel capacity is 235 gallons, the freshwater capacity is 165 gallons. I rarely ever have that information, and a lot of people ask me that, and I never really know it. Now, all the cabinets are going to be covered with a high gloss, high quality laminate. It does mimic the look of wood on it, but like I do like to point out, the box frame construction of all the drawers is solid wood. It looks like mahogany, and it is dovetail construction. Unlike a lot of luxury motor coaches, they didn't bother hiding the convection oven microwave behind the doors of shame, and then right underneath that we'll find a 2-burner electric stovetop. Now, this is from Gaggenau, but it is not an induction stovetop, so it is just radiant. You don't have to worry about having the correct cookware for it. Now, underneath that, we're going to find it does have a dishwasher from Fisher & Paykel. Those drawer dishwashers are a really nice feature to have. And then leaving the slide out, we will find the refrigerator. This is a brand new KitchenAid refrigerator. Well, I say brand new, but I think it's from 2022. Now, speaking on my own behalf, I'm very jealous of the amount of pantry space that's in here, because not only is there 2 pull-out pantry spaces behind the refrigerator, but there's still 2 more that you can access from either side of the hallway here. Of course, speaking of the hallway, we have everybody's favorite feature, a full-length mirror on a power door. So it's like Star Trek. You get to walk inside the bathroom. And if that's not enough Star Trek doors for you, you have one to the water closet there, and another one over here to the bedroom. Now, another common question I get from a lot of people is, Those doors are crazy cool. I think they're really cool, but what if they do mechanically fail? How do you open them? Well, there is an emergency release located in every single room. You can push that button and it will manually open, and it will override the controls and the doors will open, or it will actually release the air pressure and you can push the door open by hand. Now, as we make our way here into the water closet, I will point out we have made our way back into the granite black tile flooring, which does make its way up onto the wainscoting here next to the macerating porcelain toilet. Now, naturally, across from the toilet, it does have its own vanity here in the water closet, which is made out of that same matching Corian that you're going to find throughout the entire coach. It is seamlessly integrated sink. And then above that mirrored backsplash will be mirrored medicine cabinets. Those are all doors that open up for storage. Now, just behind or rear or aft of the water closet is going to be something I always forget to show people, but it does have a full and proper laundry center with a washer and dryer. Now, this one you have to push on the door to open. And then right across from there, this has a more unique shower setup in a bus conversion. It's more like a shower stall, but it is still luxury and high-end, and it's very large, so it does have granite on the shower pan, and then ceramic and stone tile surrounding the rest of it. Even a little ledge as a bench seat or a toe ledge made out of that same granite. So I'm about 6 foot tall. The first thing I want to point out, there's no crossbar here. So I can walk in and out without hitting my head on anything or having to duck. And even here in the shower stall, that's almost 5 inches of extra head space in here. And I can actually get underneath the shower head here. It's a nice feature when you move the shower indoors a little bit. Now, just after the shower will be the main vanity. It has a much bigger countertop, a much bigger seamlessly integrated Corian sink, and instead of 3 mirrored medicine cabinets above, you have 4. Now, as we make our way out of the bathroom into the bedroom right here, we have transitioned from the granite flooring back to that wood flooring again. But as we pan up, we're going to see one of the biggest bedrooms you're going to see in an H3 Marathon Prevost bus conversion. Because of the layout and the design of the slide outs back here, you have a lot of walking floor space here. So you have a king size bed on the third slide out room here, but it does not take up the entire bedroom slide like most of the beds tend to. You have lots of storage or closet space on both sides of the bed, and even a ledge right here with its own plug on both sides of the bed too. You'll have another Crestron iPad control, and because this is the bedroom, we do have power Roman shades here to close off the windows. So across from there, we'll find the fourth and final slide out room that has this really interesting cutout area with a bench seat on it. Now, it's designed for that, not just for all the storage space that you get out of it, or as a comfortable place to sit down and put your shoes on or get dressed. But when this bedroom slide is closed and that slide out room is closed, they will actually interlock with themselves. Now, above that, we'll find that same solid surface Corian that you're going to find throughout the entire coach, and of course the bedroom TV, which has a really good view from the bed over here. And while you'd think that 3 power Star Trek doors were enough, behind this 3-panel full-length dressing mirror, we'll find 2 more Star Trek proper doors. You don't get a full-length closet rod back here. You do get some built-in shelving and all the control for the AV center right here. And what is most notable from Marathon is how easily their mechanical systems are to access and how proud they are of their work to display it so neatly. So that was it, guys. The first quad slide H3 Prevost bus conversion I've been able to share with you guys, and it's a 2010 Marathon. I'd say Marathon really did a great job finding floor space in a luxury bus Prevost conversion, which when it comes to bus conversions is usually the one thing they lack. They're a great driving experience and they're a high quality build, but their floor space that's available inside is usually a little bit tighter because of the natural confines of a monocoque construction. With a well laid out floor plan, I'm thinking these start to rival Newell when it comes to floor space that's available. Now, sadly, I'm all done with my inspection and I don't have too much to share with you guys, but I know the most important question is, how much does this cost? But I don't know that answer. Since we are at the 2025 Phoenix RV Super Show, Let me see if I can't track down Turner from Southwest Luxury Coach Sales. All right, now that we beat the crowd here, I found Turner over here at his table and at his booth. How you doing, Turner?
James, good to see you.
Been a while since we saw each other.
Yeah.
So this 2010 Marathon Quad Slide H3, I know everybody's gonna wanna know, how much does it cost?
$699.
So $699,000 is about, what, 90,000 miles?
90,000 miles.
90,000 miles. So if anybody is interested in it, how would they contact you?
They can hit our website, swcoaches.com. They can call any of us. My number, call me on my cell, 602-723-0149. You can get me direct.
Now, you also have another website if people are just looking to sell their RV to you, not necessarily buy?
Yeah, our purchasing companies, sellmyrvonline.com, cash offer, pickup, free pickup nationwide. We can deal with liens, bank loans, anything you have, bring it our way. We'll make a cash offer on the spot, pick up within 24 hours most of the time.
All right, and that's independent of Southwest Luxury Coach.
Sister company, it's us. We're the largest wholesale company probably in the U.S., so we have outlets for just about everything. So we wanted to set up a dedicated purchasing site so we could manage all those leads and make people happy.
The inspection was absolutely golden. It's the first time I ever got to share a quad slide with anybody, so thank you very much, Turner.
Beautiful, Coach. Thanks for coming out and doing the video today. Get to check out the RV show, see all the new coaches.
I know, now I get to go eat some carnival food.
There you go.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye. And unlike all those electric ones unlike all those electric slide out trays that I'm not a big fan of, this goes in and out pretty fast. Now all the cabinets are made with that high. Now all the cabinets are covered with that very high